A parent can be one of the most rewarding experiences, but it can also be overwhelming at times. Statistics show 20 to 30% of parents report feeling burnout. Dr. Holly McKenna with Darrow Wellness joins us now to detail the ways to manage feelings of being overwhelmed. And I was so looking forward to this interview, Dr. Holly, because, oh my goodness, I can relate. And I think every mother, every father can relate to that feeling of burnout. What causes that? What is it, just the stress of the kids, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we found that when surveyed, about 60% of parents talk about some level of anxiety.
Yeah.
And for Gen Z, it's even higher than that. And it's really, the demands are higher than what we can do as human beings. Some of it's self-inflicted, but a lot of it is just our culture. You know, we don't really have the level of community support that maybe, you know, grandma did. And you can feel super alone. And so when you feel like your demands are higher than your abilities, you can get into that state of overwhelm. And that's that exhaustion. We were talking about, like, just not even having words for it, just feeling
it's difficult to explain, and it can be helpful to find people who can relate to that. So how can you tell, because sometimes you're so deep in it, you don't even realize that what is going on is parent burnout. How can you tell if you're having that?
Yeah, so it is physical, mental, emotional exhaustion. As you said, the words don't even come out to describe it because the brain is just offline.
Yes.
It's feeling more pain, more irritability, more anxiety. Sleep isn't great, even when, you know, we say, like, sleep when the kids sleep, like having the brain keep going and not being able to do that, right?
Sure.
All of those things can indicate that you're burned out. And when you feel like you're more irritable, there's a lot of shame associated with it.
Yeah, you know, I find maybe social media, especially you were saying Gen Z feeling this a little bit more as they come into parenthood. Social media gives us all of these amazing resources to be better parents, but it also makes us feel like we have to do all of those things all the time. Right. And I think about, sometimes I tell my husband, our parents didn't see any of this. They just did their best and rolled with it.
I think they didn't have to look at Instagram and think, like, you know, my house doesn't look like that all the time.
Right, my house doesn't look like that. I don't gentle parent like that all the time. You know, those sorts of things.
I mean, I just want to say to the moms, like, I'm trained in integrative medicine, I'm trained in psychiatry, I even did some pediatrics training, and ask my two kids, I have moments of mommy meltdowns.
We all do.
Right?
We all do. So what can we do when we're burnt out, when we feel like the world is coming in on us and the kids won't stop, you know, fussing or fighting back?
Generation, yes.
What do we do? What's the recommendation?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about self-care, but when you're a mom, you have to be creative about what does self-care look like.
There's only so much time for self-care.
Because if you're home right now with the kids, you know, obviously they're probably in your face while you're trying to listen to us.
Sure.
Or if you're after school and you've been working all day, then it's all about mom. So it's about taking moments when you can. So if they're napping, if they're in a napping stage, I reached out to a lot of colleagues. They use that time to just be. You know, instead of cleaning and making your house look like Instagram, just be. If that means, like, watching your favorite show or dancing around to the tunes that your kids can't listen to, or just stepping outside, whatever that looks like.
Totally.
There's also, I love Sesame Street. Sesame Street, obviously the show is amazing, but also they have a lot of podcasts and things on YouTube. They have the Think, Breathe, Do app, which is a favorite in my household.
Okay.
Now my kids are 7 and 11, but they still talk about it as the monster app because the little icon is the monster.
Okay.
And it's basically a little monster having, like, a toddler type meltdown. And then it triggers the kids to touch his belly, and he does belly breathing. And it's like magic. Like, the kids all do belly breathing with the monster.
Wow, so you're teaching them how to calm themselves down.
And then it pops bubbles and helps them realize that when you start breathing, you can think and make a different choice. And so I would use that when my kids were little, both for my meltdowns and theirs, because then, you know, like, I'd love a good road rage, sorry, but my kids would be like, Mommy, you need the monster app from the back seat. And
Don't you love when they call you out on that? It's like, you're right.
The truth tellers, yes. But that's a great one. I share that a lot with anxious parents or just overwhelmed parents, because you can use it to model how you handle your moments, as well as help them with theirs, because everyone has emotions. It's okay.
Yes.
It's good to talk about them and say, you know what, Mommy had a moment. I got overwhelmed, I got anxious, and I'm sorry. And let's talk about it. Now I'm going to do some breathing with you and tell me how you felt about that. I'm sorry that that happened, and like processing it, because they need to see we're human beings and they need to see how we handle it. So then when they have their moments, they know how to handle it as well.
That is so great. I love that. Not only are we teaching them, but it's a way to calm yourself down as well when things start to get out of hand, as they do in these back to school mornings.
Every morning, yes.
Dr. Holly McKenna, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, my
I really
pleasure.
appreciate it.